Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday, November 1, 2017. Welcome to the Tomorrow People Show. I am your host, Elton Kwabena Campbell. And this evening,
You here?
yes, and Raoul is a mature student at Glendon College.
Yep, that's right.
Yes. Can you tell us a bit about yourself? A little about yourself. Today's topic is out of many one nation, or out of many nations, in fact. So,
Absolutely. Well, Elton, I was actually, my parents are originally from the Netherlands, but I was born in Hong Kong,
mhm.
and I lived there for the first 14 years of my life. Um, so, as you might know, up until 97, Hong Kong was a British colony. And in 97, Hong Kong was handed over back to China. So I was actually living in the period 1980 to 1994. And in 94, when my sister, she finished her secondary education there, decided to move to the Netherlands, so to the motherland. And actually, I was interested in going too. So I'd asked my parents, is there any possibility that I could move to the Netherlands as well with her? And so, yeah, I went together with my sister, and I ended up going to a boarding school there. And I finished my secondary education there.
Yes.
Yeah. And in 2004. In 2001, I had the opportunity to visit Canada. So I came for my first trip to Canada in 2001. And between 2001 and 2004, I visited a few times. And finally, in 2004, I decided that I wanted to make the move over to Canada. And that's when I settled in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, from 2004 to 2009, I was here in Canada. And in 2009, I decided China, where I lived in Shanghai for 7 years. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So after that, what happened after that? Did you return to?
And decided to make the move mainly because of my son. Yeah, we decided to come back here.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I'm usually a lazy host, so usually I allow my guests to talk about themselves, to introduce themselves, instead of me reading something about them.
That's great. Absolutely.
So, starting out, do you have a favorite color?
Yeah, I guess subconsciously I have a favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to wear clothing that's often blue in color. So I think I have a preference in blue for some reason. Yeah.
Internationally, blue is the most favorable colors of most people. Like
Okay.
most people like blue. I asked you this question because in China, red is used a lot on their flags and different things. Is there any significance of the red? And what's the significance of the color red in China?
Sure, absolutely. Well, as you know, like you mentioned, the China flag is red with gold actually, and red is actually an indication of luck, good luck. So they associate red with good luck.
Good luck.
And ironically, in some other countries, though, we see it as maybe an aggressive color, right? But absolutely not over there. I mean, red is basically for good luck, and there's a special time of the year, Chinese New Year, where it's custom to give a red envelope, which usually contains some money that that people will give to unmarried children. right? So they give that as a gift during Chinese New Year, and so it's a very exciting time for young people.
So I need to
Unmarried
be in
young people,
so I
that
need to
is.
be in
Yeah.
China right now. Colonized by Britain.
You mean was China, mainland China? Was mainland China colonized by Britain?
Mainland China or Hong Kong, was it colonized by Britain?
Yes, Hong Kong. Hong Kong was colonized by Britain, but China wasn't per se. Not in. Historically, there definitely was British influence inside China.
Yes.
And of course, there's a bad history to that when you look back at the Opium Wars. But Hong Kong was actually colonized after the war and was taken from the Japanese, who had colonized it prior.
Yes.
From China. So it came under British rule and actually developed very well economically.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So why was it returned? Is it that a treaty was signed after a particular time it would be returned?
That's correct. Yes, there was an agreement. There was the formal agreement that it would be returned, and so that was honored in 1997. It was a bit of a scary time for some because nobody knew exactly what was going to be the result of that handover.
Yes.
But fortunately, everything went very peacefully.
Okay. Growing up in China, Hong Kong, under British rule, what was it like? Was there a lot of Chinese influences? How did that look? Paint a picture for us of when you were young, growing up.
Yes. In Hong Kong, they actually use traditional Chinese characters still. So that would be one of the differences that you see between Hong Kong and mainland China.
Mm-hmm.
In mainland China, they simplified their character system. So this tradition was maintained, let's say, inside Hong Kong, as well. Growing up there in Hong Kong under the British rule, I attended a British school, so followed the British education system, and I have to say, looking back at it, it was very British centered, right, from their perspective.
Okay.
And it was only in grade 8. In grade 8, we were in Hong Kong, but it wasn't a subject that was taught very seriously,
Mm-hmm.
or that we specifically had, to learn, and there weren't any exams for it. But it was just an opportunity for us to learn some of the language, and so I feel though that this was done on purpose, to create still this separation between the colonizer and the local
colonized.
people. Yeah.
Okay. What sports did you play while growing up, or games did you play?
Well, growing up, I was a big soccer fan, and also a player. So after school, you would usually always see me on the football pitch with kids from my neighborhood who also went to the same school. And usually the first thing we do is, once we got off the school bus, we'd run home, quickly throw our school bag down,
Mm-hmm.
grab a quick drink, change our clothes, and then head to the football pitch together, where we would, play football or soccer, for the first, couple of hours at least. So yeah, we were very much into that.
Very much involved.
I used to play table tennis as well, or ping pong as it's called as well. And the great thing about ping pong is you can play it almost anywhere. You don't need much space for it. All you need is a table and a small net, and you can, play it anywhere. So it was a great sport. And yeah, Hong Kong doesn't have that much space. It's very concentrated, very, very dense. A lot of people living there in such a small area. So ping pong was popular. And another, the Chinese are, superior in this sport. So
they do well in it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's another sport I play. Yeah.
Okay. Growing up in Hong Kong, and your
Yeah.
how did you learn Dutch? How did that come in?
Yes.
And what other culture did you learn from the Netherlands while growing up?
Sure. Learning Dutch was a very painful experience for me. I still have childhood trauma from that. No, I'm just joking.
I'm sorry.
Yes, actually, since I was going to school under the British system, and all my friends, although international as well, we all spoke English to each other at school throughout the day. But when I came home, my parents would speak Dutch to me. And so, although, often I wouldn't answer back in Dutch, but at least the listening I was getting from them. My parents decided, well, you're going to have to learn writing as well and speaking, so you're going to go to Dutch lessons. And Dutch lessons, of course, had to be on Friday afternoon after school.
Ouch.
So Friday afternoon was also the big day where everyone would go to the playground and play football.
You can just imagine.
Well, right? So here they are having fun, and I'm stuck in Dutch lessons. But to be honest, I am very grateful to my parents for putting me through that torturous experience, because still today I can say I speak the language, fluently. So,
yes.
Yeah.
What other languages do you speak?
Well, I also speak some Mandarin. After living in China for 7 years,
Okay.
you think you'd be able to pick up some of the language,
Yes.
and I did pick up some, and I sure hope you're not going to test me on it, but I could see you
I'm
will.
going to test you.
So, yeah. So Mandarin's another language, and actually German is a language
German.
that I can understand fairly well. Yeah, because it's quite similar
It's
to
quite
Dutch.
similar.
Yeah. And of course I'm learning French here at
Learning
Glendon.
French at Glendon.
Yeah.
Being multilingual, how does it help you in terms of learning French?
It doesn't at all.
Does
Just
it?
joking. You're getting it all confused. All these. Yeah, I would say it does help. There's certain skills and skills that you learn to help you learn these languages. So I can say by knowing all these different languages, it definitely helps with picking up new languages.
Okay, I'm not gonna ask you which language you see as your first language, because I'm gonna ask you, if you were supposed to get angry now and just start cursing, which language would you curse in? Automatically, without thinking.
Wow, that's it depends who my audience is. If my audience are English viewers, then I will curse in English.
You don't know if they're English, French,
Okay, I don't know.
European. You don't know anything.
Well,
You just got upset and you just start cursing. Which language would you curse in?
it's very hard for me to curse out loud, but to answer your question,
Or in your head?
yeah, it'd be English. Yeah, it'd be English. Yeah.
So you consider English to be your first language in terms of...
I would say, yeah, absolutely, because most of my education has been in English. So, and most of the people I communicate with on a daily basis are all we all use English as our main language. Yeah,
I tricked you on that one. That's why I asked when you get angry, because when you get angry...
that's
real-
right. Yeah, what are you gonna say?
Okay. Since I've asked you about the various languages, can you teach me how to say, like, common greetings in Dutch and in Mandarin?
Sure, and thank you for choosing something simple first.
Before I start, negotiating, does that mean what is your name?
Oh, you said Ni Gui Sing.
Negotiating.
Okay,
That's the correct name.
that is actually your last name,
Oh my
Ni
gosh.
Gui Sing, right? And that's
Okay.
that's a polite form. That's a polite form of asking. So that's actually very good.
Yes,
You
I
made
was trying to
yourself
research.
the way you said it. I could understand what you were saying. So
Okay.
good job on that.
All right. So.
For example, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is kind of ironic because now we're getting into something cultural. China people don't generally ask, how are you? In such a direct way.
Yes.
So there is like, for example, maybe some older people would say that to me, just to see how I'm doing. You should say, 你吃过饭了吗? So, 你吃过饭了吗? Can you try saying that? 你吃过饭 basically means is, have you eaten?
Have you?
Yes. So traditionally, this is like, how are you doing? And if you've eaten already kind of thing, it's like, you'd say, 我吃过了. I have eaten.
我吃过了.
Very good. 我吃过了.
我吃过了.
Yeah, very good. And Mandarin actually has, we say about 4 to 5 tones, right? Yes. So different tones.
Also, if my tone is off, I could be saying something.
That's exactly right.
Horrible.
Exactly. Yes, you could be saying something what you don't want to be saying. Yes.
How would I say everything that we just said in Dutch?
Everything we just said in Dutch? To say have you eaten in Dutch, you would say heb je al gegeten? That's more harder. Yeah, so hard. now you're throwing in some throat action when it comes French. To Dutch. So heb je al gegeten? Gegeten. Okay, not bad. You see, it's a thing you have to train your throat.
You have to train your throat.
Yeah, that means have you eaten?
Oh, so Mandarin is more with accents, and Dutch is more with throat.
Yeah, you could probably say, especially with G words. Mm-hmm. So any words that start with a G. So gegeten starts with a G, and so you're forced to use your throat.
So this means that you are good with the R's in French, then.
Perhaps.
Yeah, that means yes.
But the fact that you mentioned R, R is actually a very difficult letter for many Chinese speakers to pronounce in English. So you don't really see words like, for example, the word people in Mandarin is ren. Ren. Like, right? More like an L as opposed to an R. So when people would say my English name, it would often be like Raoul. Raoul, not Raoul, but Raoul.
Raoul. Yeah. Okay. We're going to take a break. Going to play some music and come back. Mandarin, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
我们现在要休息，我们快回来了。
谢谢。
不客气。
Hello. We're back. We're back on air. Welcome back to Glendon Radio. This is the Tomorrow People Show. I'm your host, Elton Campbell, and our special guest this evening is Raoul. Welcome back, Raoul.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Okay. Are you a fan of the Justice League?
Yes, actually I am. And in particular, I think my son is getting very excited about it coming out in this month, right? It's coming out this month.
This November 17th.
Oh, right. Yeah, November 17th. So I'm definitely going to have to take him to the cinema to watch that.
Okay. But you have a chance to take him and 2 other persons, your wife and any other family member or friend, to the movies.
Oh, wow.
But you have to enter the competition here on Radio Glendon. So how this competition works is that Radio Glendon has posted, has made a post about the Justice League. And what you would do is go on to their Facebook page at facebook.com/Radio Glendon and just repost that. Just click share, type 4 of your friend's name and post it for a chance to enter.
Okay, great. We'll do that.
And it's not just to see the movie on November 17th. You're seeing the movie before a lot of persons on you'll see the movie on November 15th.
Oh, so it's like VIP.
Yes, if you're a winner. So
Oh,
you're
wow.
getting a early screening. This competition is only open to York students.
Okay.
So you should definitely
Add
enter.
some York students. Okay.
Yes. If you were a Justice League character, which one would you be?
I would say Batman. First of all, because Wayne has it all. He has the suave. He has the money. He can get all the toys. And he's kind of a dark character as well.
Mm-hmm.
And another reason is he's actually my son's favorite character too. So, yeah.
Cool. He has no superpowers, but he's really on top of his game.
That's right. That's right. He comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. So he's like you, knows a lot of languages and so on. Yeah. All right. So you came to Canada in 2011.
No, when I first came to visit, you mean, or when I moved?
When you first came.
Oh, I first came in
to
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
Okay. How was that visit for you? Why did you visit? What was it like for you? Was there any culture shocks?
So it was actually it was I came here it was February. It was around January, February of 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my best friends in Holland was actually from Canada. He was a schoolmate of mine, and he told me lots of great things about Canada. And he said, you got to come over here and visit. Why I chose January and February of 2001, I mean, that time of the year.
Like snow.
Right. Well, it was actually one of the coldest winters that year.
I asked if you like snow.
Yeah. So, I guess most people would have been scared off and deterred from ever coming back again after that winter. But yeah, for some reasons, it was, went up at the CN Tower and went outside at the top there in minus 25. I mean, these were all experiences I never had before. And so it made them all that more special, like I mentioned earlier before making the move over here. Yeah.
Okay, so what's different with Canada and the Netherlands and China? What was different? What did you see that was different? What you liked? What you didn't really like?
Well, let's talk about, I guess, the likes first.
Mm-hmm.
The Netherlands versus Canada. First of all, Canada has a lot more space. It's not as densely populated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Holland is only roughly, 43,000 square kilometers, whereas Canada's almost 1 million square kilometers. So,
okay.
Just to give you an example. So what I was really impressed by here was you can actually notice the 4 seasons very well here.
Yes, I do notice it.
Yeah.
Coming from somewhere where there's only 1 season, I do see all 4 seasons.
Yeah, we see the 4 seasons here, and so although you learn about the 4 seasons, not everyone's actually experienced the 4 seasons.
I didn't experience it until I came to
yeah.
Canada.
Whether or not that's a good thing, that's another story, right? But so that's something I really really liked.
Yes.
And then, of course, the snow. Not growing up with that much snow around me, it was fascinating. To have the snow and to go for hikes in the snow and all the the forested areas, a lot of the natural areas that we have here that you don't just have, yes. Right? That we don't have. Let's say in the Netherlands, for example, because it's so small, and that was something that I really appreciated. The Great Lakes as well,
Yes.
We have a massive lake here in our city of Toronto, right?
Huge.
Lake Ontario, and I mean, it's almost like you're looking out at the ocean, right?
Because persons have come here and asked, what if there is a tsunami? And I'm telling them, that's a lake.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, what tsunami?
That's right.
When I went to Toronto Island.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they fear that too much, but And then, then compared with China, again, I can only speak really from Shanghai. That's only a small part. 30 million people now.
30 million.
So you could call it a mega city. Shanghai, although it's a concrete jungle, you have a lot of parks. So urban parks within the city,
yes,
which is really great. And they're usually not far away. So almost every neighborhood will have some kind of park somewhere.
Green spaces.
Green space. And, especially the elderly people will really make use of the parks there, going for morning jogs or evening jogs or just doing stretching. And that's something you do really see is how active a lot of elderly people are actually.
Yes.
There.
So a lot of elderly people do jog and exercise.
Yes.
There.
And there's a clear sense of community as well over there. So
even though there's 30 million people,
that's right.
The community spirit is still strong.
Absolutely. So going through the parks as well, I would see the same people. Let's say in the morning or in the evening after I was coming back from work, and we just a simple greeting each other and
greet us how you would greet.
Ni hao. Yes. Yeah, and sometimes depending of course who you're speaking to, but the conversation might go beyond. A little bit. Again, the common one was, have you eaten, right? 你吃过饭了吗?
Yes. I'm sure that I've heard that, like person saying that here who are Chinese.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like far out.
Yeah. And again, like I was saying, it's very common among maybe that more people. Yes. Our generation might not generally say that to each other, but they would ask something else. So not directly how are you, but maybe talk about something else to figure out how you are doing.
Okay, so
like everything okay with the family?
It's not as director.
I would say it's definitely cultural to not be so direct and ask you directly how you are.
Yes.
Because of course, if you're not doing well, they just don't want to catch you off guard and put you in a situation where you'll feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yes. Shanghai, it's Mandarin. The name is Mandarin, right?
The language is Mandarin Chinese.
Because I was trying to figure out if Shanghai has a meaning.
Okay, the meaning
Shanghai.
Yes. Now you're putting me on the spot here. I have to think about Shanghai. But the character Shang is means up. Actually, can also refer to up.
Yes.
And Hai, as in by the sea, relating to water.
And is Shanghai located on a elevated area by the sea?
I wouldn't say per se elevated area, but it is by the sea.
Yes.
And it's surrounded by a lot of water and of course rivers that come into the city.
So the name has some meaning.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely the water aspect we can connect to with the character. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a national dish in China or Shanghai?
Oh, that's another thing actually. What's super exciting and interesting about China is that they have so many different dishes, and each part of China has its specialty dish. For example, I used to like to buy my breakfast outside, and I would walk out my building, and I would just buy my breakfast off someone selling kind of like a pancake. We call jianbing in Chinese.
Jianbing.
And it's based, and they put something called yu chow, and yu chow is like a fried yo chow, which is like a fried bread inside of that, and you can add like a hot sauce as well to it. It depends how you want to eat it. So you can choose the spicy variety, or put a little bit of cilantro as well inside. and it is really having that fresh breakfast. Yeah.
In the Netherlands,
Yeah.
What is their national dish or any dish that stands out for you?
In Holland, snack as in junk food, is extremely popular.
Like fries and burgers?
Oh, they love that kind of food. So fries are eaten with mayonnaise there, right? So if you've watched Pulp Fiction, you'll remember mention of that, where someone goes, "Ew, they eat fries with mayonnaise there?" Yeah, but it's actually really good. Then you have something called croquette. And the croquette, again, being deep fried, how can you go wrong? It's going to taste good. But inside is like, so it has a hard exterior, and then inside has a ragu, like a beef ragu inside. Again, very delicious. But going into something, a little bit more complicated, you have Dutch pea soup, which is generally eaten in the winter time. So when it starts to get colder, it's a very thick soup.
It's a very thick soup.
Very thick soup made of split peas. So it's a split pea, green split peas, which is cooked for a very long time, and they'll usually add things like maybe some bacon in there, pork with bone in, so that's all cooked in for a long time. It's a fatty, very filling soup with lots of vegetables, carrots, and what have you. Okay. But what's interesting about it is that after it's cooked, they let it settle overnight outside.
In
right?
the cold?
In the cold, yeah. So that's a traditional way. You place the pot outside.
It's a tradition, or they do it for a particular purpose?
Well, that's when they do that, it actually helps to firm the soup. So it becomes a very thick soup as a result. So yeah, I guess instead of putting it in the fridge, you put it outside, and then it thick that way. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
In Canada, no. I know that the Bell dish.
Yes.
What would you consider your national dish here in Canada? Your personal national dish?
So, like my favorite Canadian
dish. Does it have to be?
Think about that. To be honest, I think it's actually a meal.
A meal?
A meal, and I would say it'd be Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Going through the typical Canadian Thanksgiving meal where, you fill yourself up with lots of turkey, stuffing, root vegetables,
Okay.
that whole, and gravy. That there's something special about that mix that always hits the spot and makes you feel warm inside and want to sleep as well.
So so that meal is like the meal of the year.
That's right. I would say that is my Canadian meal.
Because I'm coming with a harder question now.
Okay.
Take a meal from Netherlands, one from China, one from Canada, combine it and create a new meal on a menu for a restaurant. What would it be? You're taking different elements.
Yes.
From three different countries, China, Netherlands, and Canada, to create a unique dish.
Okay.
Or if that is a bit too complicated, how about a drink?
How about a drink?
Yeah. If the food is too complicated.
Yeah, sure.
Create a drink.
All right, let's do the drink then, because
okay.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings if I choose a food. So let's go with a drink.
Okay.
Now, being from if we take China first, it would definitely be tea. So we would use a tea, and then I'd probably go with like a pu'er tea, which is a very special tea. It's a fermented tea actually, which is grown specifically in the Sichuan province region of China. It's considered a black tea. So that one, and then I would have to add milk, and that would be the Dutch side to it, because Holland, personally, I think Holland has the best dairy in the world. I don't know how they do it, but their milk is just superior. You have to try their milk to understand what I'm saying. So maybe like a milk tea then. So comprised of Chinese tea, Dutch milk, and here comes the Canadian part.
Canadian side.
What can we add to that?
I was gonna think maple syrup, but I don't know.
that would actually be, we could call it like a winter tea. Okay. You know, a nice winter tea with So the Chinese tea with the Dutch milk and the Canadian maple syrup.
I hope Tim Hortons don't steal this idea.
Yeah, they better not. Or at least mention us. Yeah.
Okay. So you came to Canada in 2001, right?
Yes.
And you went back to...
Yeah, back to the Netherlands.
Back to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Then from the Netherlands, you went to Shanghai, China.
No, actually, sorry. I know it's confusing with all these dates. Mm-hmm. In 2004, I then settled permanently in Canada till 2009. And then from 2009 to 2016, I was in China.
Why did you leave Canada?
Okay. Like you said, here are the hard questions.
Why did you forsake Canada?
Why did I forsake Canada? In 2009, I decided that I wanted to go on a bit of an adventure again.
Yes.
And I felt that I wanted to do something where I could give back to the community. Mm-hmm. And so I did I learned how to be basically an ESL teacher.
Oh, English.
Yeah, English is a second language
what I thought
teacher.
When I saw the information, I thought that probably we went to teach English.
That's right. So I actually and then got a placement in Shanghai. Now, why Shanghai? Well, I guess I met someone in my TESOL course who was from Shanghai, China, and we're teaching opportunities, and we need people like you. And I said to him, okay, well, I'm sold, and I wanted to go back to Asia as well a little bit, back to the roots a little bit. So I went to Shanghai and then I taught there, initially teaching at local public schools, and then I taught at university, mm-hmm. and then actually set up a company there, teaching students online, basically helping students who were at a lower income level actually, and who couldn't afford private lessons with a foreign teacher. Yeah.
This sounds really good.
Yeah.
Giving back to the community. Why is it important to give back to the community?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me it was important to give back to the community there because the community had given me so much from my experience there. I really felt welcomed in China, and so it was important for me to give back, and also, from what I could observe, mm-hmm. How could I give back, and then basically using my skills and my ability. For me, that was through teaching, and then making it, like I said, affordable for lower income families.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it hard to adjust going back in terms of climate, how things are in that present time?
You mean going back from where?
Going from Canada, because you've made a lot of transitions. So I'm asking, during each transition, was it difficult to adjust?
Yes.
From British Hong Kong to the Netherlands, then to Canada, then from Canada to Shanghai, China, then back to Canada. Was it difficult, the transitioning?
Wow. I'll start with Hong Kong to the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. I was actually a teenager when I made the move over, and I think for all of us, when we're teenagers, it's already a very difficult time because we're going through, many different phases. Difficult time for me, and I would say more than likely it was the teenage factor there. Culturally, the Netherlands is although it's a Western culture, again, it's completely different than growing up in Hong Kong. So yes, it took time to adjust. Then going to Canada, I felt it actually quite easy to adjust to.
Why is that?
I perhaps because Canadian culture, I think generally, this is my opinion and how I've experienced it.
Okay.
But I think it has a very accepting culture, and at the same time, it was a different phase in my life when I came here. So I was already, I was in my 20s and a young man already, as opposed to a teenager moving here. So more stable in your shoes, standing more firmly in my shoes.
Yes.
But then, making that transition to China, it was a very exciting time because in that year was also the year they were having the expo in Shanghai. So there was a lot of development going on in the city. But as a result of the development as well, there was a lot of pollution. And I actually ended up getting very sick in that first year. I ended up with bronchitis, which then turned into pneumonia. And I was bedridden for a good 2 weeks there, where I couldn't do anything. I was just so fatigued by it. But besides that, the adjustment was quite simple. Because again, the Chinese culture as well, they're very, very good at making you feel welcome.
Okay.
So, I would say back in 2009, it was very bad, and that had to do as well with the construction going on within the city. A lot of development, new buildings, cars were starting to pick up as well. So more and more people start. But in the latter years, so in my final years there in 2015, 2016, the government was really noticing the problem, and they were making tremendous efforts to minimize the impact on the people who are living within the city core. So they pushed the factories actually farther out from the cities and moved them to areas which wouldn't affect the general population as much, and that did make a difference. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Which country do you feel more connected to? Canada, China, Britain, which?
This might sound harsh to any British people, but I don't feel any connection actually with the British, even though I was living on a British colony. So I won't say British culture. I consider myself an international citizen. A person of the world. So I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to restrict myself to a particular country.
So each contributed something that was very important to you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So from Shanghai, why did you come back to Canada?
Well, from Shanghai, we were blessed. My wife, who is from China, we were blessed with the birth of our son, and we felt for his future it would be better to return to Canada for his education and the general environment, because Shanghai is China in general is a very competitive place, very competitive, and it would affect our family life in that sense. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you teach your son, your child? Do you teach him any of the various cultures that you have been through? Like, for instance, and is Mandarin something that you want to keep within the family, where he will grow up speaking Mandarin also? If that's something that you...
Yes, I think languages are important. However, I don't see Dutch as being a very important language, just because there aren't that many speakers of Dutch
Or
around
is it
the world.
because you have had difficulty while growing up forced.
You think so, right? You think so. Yeah, that could be perhaps it, subconsciously in the back of my mind. Don't put that poor boy through the same trauma. But no, it's really for practical reasons. I don't think it's that practical for him to learn that. But I definitely, he actually has Mandarin lessons, so we're making sure that he does learn Mandarin. And, considering there are 1.3 billion Chinese people in this world, it's definitely an important language, I think, to learn and going forward in the future. And French, being another official language of Canada, is something we are working on introducing as well to him. Yeah,
because Mandarin is taught in Jamaica at University of the West Indies.
Oh, really?
So they're trying to let people learn the language because they're doing a lot of business with the Chinese.
Yes,
like China is doing a lot of business with a lot of countries across the globe.
Yes. So if I would definitely recommend if you're looking at learning another language as well, definitely consider Mandarin as an option. Yeah.
Okay. So, any final thoughts? Because we're gonna wrap up soon. Or before the final thoughts, you're a mature student here. You're part of YUMSO. Can you tell us a bit about YUMSO? Yes, you're right. I am a mature student, and I am part of YUMSO. I am part of the Facebook group, and YUMSO has had a number of events at the Kiel campus, and we actually have, I think, an event coming up here at Glendon soon. November 8th.
O'clock that day. So I might try and sneak out a little bit earlier just so I can catch the end of...
Same with me.
Yeah. Because I haven't actually had the chance yet to meet other YUMSO members. So for me, this is going to be a great opportunity to do so.
It's November 8th, 1 p.m. to 2:30. And it's in the Sky Room, YHA 300. Yeah, so just checking up on us to see if we're settling well and if we need any support. So if you're a mature student and you need some support, make your way. Make your way to YHA 300 on November 8th, 2017.
Yes, it'd be great to meet some other mature students, right?
Yes.
Here on the campus. Great opportunity.
Yes, and I've been there on the Kiel campus, and the president speaks French and English, so that's excellent.
Totally, it's a good way for us as well, I guess, to practice, right? Our French, yes.
All right, wrapping up. Gonna ask you your final thoughts.
Do you have anything in particular that you'd like me to discuss in terms of final thoughts?
Final thoughts in terms of moving to different parts of the world, learning different languages. How has it shaped you in terms of being progressive in life? And why it's important to learn another language like French and Mandarin?
Okay. In that case, I would like to say that, first of all, it's very important to have an open mind and to try to embrace the culture, the new culture that you're entering in and trying to experience. Try to make as many local friends as possible as well within that community you're moving into. That's something I definitely did in China, and that also helped me with my language learning, and also helped me many times through some difficult situations that I occurred, which ended up not being difficult thanks to their help. So that's definitely something I recommend. Another important aspect was to really understand a country's culture or a people's culture. Is you should learn the language, because it's through the language where we
language is a part of culture,
right? We can absorb that culture, and also the food as well. So again, go in with an open mind, don't be scared, and get the best out of the full experience.
Okay, one word to describe each country. Say it also.
One word for all of them?
Oh my gosh, I'm making it so difficult.
Yes.
Say it in whether in Dutch and in Mandarin.
Oh,
Dutch, Mandarin, English.
so one word per country or one word for all countries?
One word per country as what it means to you.
Okay.
Or your experience from being there.
Okay. Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
The word I'll use there is international. So for me, that was my first experience
Mm-hmm.
through the whole international, being up in an international society.
Yes.
The Netherlands.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
International. You want to hear it in Mandarin or Dutch?
Oh, well, in...
Either one is okay.
Okay. In Mandarin, it would be 国外的.
Yes.
And in Dutch, it would be international. So it sounds very similar, right, to English. You could probably recognize what the meaning is.
Yes.
International. The Netherlands, progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very progressive. I say that's two words, but progressive. Progressief.
Sounds like French.
Sounds like French there,
yes.
right? Yeah, progressief. Canada. Embracing.
Embracing.
Yes. Omhelzend.
That's Mandarin.
No, that's Dutch. Omhelzend is Dutch. Embracing, unfortunately, I can't think of the word in Mandarin for that at the moment. But in Dutch, it's China. Enriching.
Enriching.
And again, how to say that word in I'm on the spot now. Yes, verrijkend. Verrijkend.
That's in Dutch.
Yeah, that's Dutch. Verrijkend. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Thanks for coming in, Raoul.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah. Did you have a great time?
I did. I really enjoyed it, Elton.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in so much.
Thanks.
All right. I'm your host, or I was your host, Elton Kwabena Campbell. This has been the Tomorrow People Show on Radio Glendon